Seth Godin once said that your biggest failure is the thing you dreamed of contributing, but didn't find the guts to do. And that's what I want to talk about today. In August 2014, I bought my very first lottery ticket. I never played the lottery before because I'm not really a gambler. But that day, something was different because there was 43 million Swiss francs in the jackpot. It was a record in Switzerland's history. And initially, I hesitated because as I said before, I'm not really a gambler. However, something in my gut feeling said that I should just go buy that lottery ticket. So that's what I did. And for 5 Swiss francs, I went to the shop and I bought my very first lottery ticket. The night before the drawing, I sat down to write in my journal. And when I opened my journal, I realized something. I realized that the next day, most probably somebody would win 43 million Swiss francs. And it could even be me, because I had a lottery ticket. It was no longer one of these hypothetical questions like, what would you do if you had 100 million in the bank? It was more along the lines of, what will you do when you win the 43 million the next day? So I decided to make a list of all the things that I would do and buy when I win the 43 million the next day. I wrote down the house that I would buy, the car that I would buy, the places I would go travel to, and the money that I would invest in social causes and projects that I believe in. I also made a list of all the things that I would do and change in my business if money would no longer be an issue. So I finished that list, I closed my journal, and I went to bed. The next day was the day of the drawing, and very excitedly, I sat in front of the TV. I had my lottery ticket with me, and I watched the drawing. I looked at the numbers on TV and compared them with the ones on my lottery ticket. And every single one of these numbers did not match with the one on my lottery ticket. So no, I didn't win the 43 million that day, not even close. However, I believe I won something much more important that day, because the night of the drawing, I sat down again to write in my journal. And when I opened my journal, I saw that list from the day before, especially that list of the things that I would do and change in my business. And I realized something. I realized that none of these changes required me to have millions in the bank. Actually, none of these changes required me to have any more money than I already had. The only thing they required me to do was to go after the things that I was most afraid of. And that moment, I made a decision to make that list a priority. But why did the 43 million Swiss franc question mobilize me, whereas a question like, what would you do if you had 100 million in the bank, did not? Well, there was one crucial difference. Because I had a lottery ticket in my hands, and because the money was already out there in the pot, and because the next day, most probably, somebody would win that money, I felt a sense of possibility that it could actually happen. So what I want to ask you today is, what do you need to go after the things that you're most afraid of? Why is that even important? Why are so many people, including myself, obsessed with high performance and stepping out of your comfort zone and going after the things you're most afraid of? Well, it's because this is what actually creates positive change. Think about people like Martin Luther King Jr., or Gandhi, Mother Teresa, Oprah, the Wright brothers, Steve Jobs, Richard Branson, Henry Ford, or Albert Einstein? What if Martin Luther King Jr. would have said, I have a dream, but who am I to pursue something that big? Or what if Henry Ford would have said, my dream is to make the automobile affordable to everyone, but who am I to think that big? The world needs crazy ideas worth spreading. And even more importantly, the world needs people who pursue these ideas and make them a reality. Without those kinds of people, we as a human race would not be where we are today. Without the people who are crazy enough to believe they can change the world, nobody would actually do it. And with pursuing what we're most afraid of comes fear. The fear of rejection, the fear of failure, and even the fear of success. The further we step outside of our comfort zone, the louder the voices in our head scream for us to stop. So in order to keep myself on track and challenge myself to go after the things that I'm most afraid of, I came up with a set of 3 questions. Questions I can ask myself on a regular basis to see if I'm on track. And you can ask these questions as well for yourself. Every time you want to make a decision or want to assess your situation, you can ask these 3 questions. And then making the right decision becomes much easier. So the first question is this who I am? Now that question checks if what we do is aligned with who we are. We can also ask, does this feel right? Or is this aligned with my values? And if the answer is not an immediate and genuine yes, maybe we need to take a step back. For example, let's say your core values are freedom, impact, and connection. And you work in a job where you have a boss telling you what to do and how to do it, and you create little value in the marketplace. And the only focus you have is on the bottom line, no matter what. There's a clear misalignment between what you do and who you are. And the second question is, am I doing this from the bottom of my heart? That question checks if we're doing something because we're rationalizing it or because it comes from our intuition. For example, if you say, I'm in this job to pay the bills, but I hate when Monday comes around. Or if you say, I'm in this relationship because we're together way too long to separate now. Maybe we need to take a step back. And the third question is, does this feel uncomfortable and exciting? If what we do doesn't scare us a little, most probably we're caught inside of our comfort zone and we're not stretching it at all. At the same time, if what we do doesn't excite us a lot, most probably it's not something we really want to be doing. So these 3 questions are a great compass that can help us see if we're steering our ship towards our dreams or if we're settling in the safe harbor. In September 2014, I got ready to launch a new group coaching program where I would help people to align their career with their passion and values. And I was very excited because I worked very hard on this for several weeks, and I thought it would become my new signature program. And when I hit the launch button and made it available for people to sign up, I had a strange gut feeling. Something didn't really feel right. All that excitement that had built up over the past few weeks of creating and building the program had suddenly vanished. And I didn't know what was happening until I realized that fear had caught up with me. I realized that asking the 3 questions was long overdue. So I asked myself, is this who I am? And at that point, I had built a successful business in the career space, helping people align their career with their values and passion. And even though it was very exciting and I really enjoyed it, it didn't fulfill me at that deepest level. Because I always believed that in a job, there's only a certain amount of control you have over your impact and freedom. So the honest answer was no. It wasn't aligned completely with my core values of freedom, impact, and connection. Then I asked, am I doing this from the bottom of my heart? Now, the next logical step in building my coaching and consulting practice was to launch a group coaching program, because it would help me work with more people at a time, impact more people, and also leverage my time better. And the idea was great. However, the challenging part was that the bottom of my heart was craving for something different, something outside of the career market, something to do with entrepreneurs. And then I asked, does this feel uncomfortable and exciting? It certainly felt uncomfortable and exciting during the creation process of the program. However, the excitement purely came from the creative work involved in building the program. And as soon as that was over, that excitement had vanished. So the honest answer was no, it didn't feel exciting anymore. So I had to take a step back and ask myself, what do I really want to do right now? And surprisingly, that question was easy to answer, because what I wanted to be doing was work with people who create positive change in the world. What I wanted to do with them was what I do best, which is connect and help people connect so that together they can have an exponentially bigger impact. I didn't know how I would make this happen in that moment. I just knew that this was what I truly wanted. The great thing about these questions is that they never fail. The challenging part is that we're human and we're not perfect. I believe it's not about being great all the time. I believe it's about being great more times than not. I told you about the lottery ticket in the beginning, the list of scary things that I made a priority. In fact, over the past 8 months, most of these things became a reality, including the one thing that I was most afraid of. You see, since a while now, I had this dream to create a safe space and a community and a central hub for changemakers, leaders and entrepreneurs that build businesses that create positive change, so that together they can have an exponentially bigger impact. And over the past 8 months, I got to know some of the most inspiring and amazing entrepreneurs and leaders I've ever met. People who have crazy ideas and ambitions and are making them a reality. People like Grace Clapham and Solonia Theodres, who lead the Change School, that gives people the tools to leverage change as a force for good. Or people like Dov and Annette Bargera, who are leading a telecommunications company called YouMe, with the vision to close the digital divide in sub-Saharan Africa, to enable more people to get access to education online. Or people like Robin Rice, who is leading the Be Who You Are Productions company, where she launched several social impact campaigns over the past years that impacted hundreds of thousands of people around the world. I am now building this community, this central hub for changemakers to connect and collaborate, because they are the ones who are crazy enough to believe they can change the world. And together, they are the ones who do it. So I invite you to ask yourself, what's holding you back from going after the things that you're most afraid of? And what is your lottery ticket that will give you that sense of possibility that you can turn your dreams into a reality? Thank you.